Hello po mga kababayan, ako po muli ang inyong kasama si Rado Gatchalian, ang inyong The FILOsopher. So narito po tayo ngayon sa aking vlogs, ang aking Facebook page or group na tinatawag na The FILOsopher. So sa mga kababayan ko po na narito po sa Sydney at sa kabuang Australia at maging sa Pilipinas at sa mga followers ko po sa iba't ibang bansa, I would say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a pleasure for me po ngayon na makasama ang isa sa mga, kumbaga, kilala po rito sa Sydney, Australia at sa Australia na rin po. Walang iba po kundi si Tita Benjie de Ubago. Si Tita Benjie po ay isang writer na katulad ko rin po, bahagi rin po ng Australian Filipino media dito sa Sydney, Australia. In fact, ito po yung sa Filipinos bahagi. You founded this po, Tita
Yes,
Benjie?
I published the first book
Okay.
in 1988.
Okay. And then may website din po si Tita Benjie and nagsusulat po siya roon. But anyway, so simulan na po natin. So sino po si Tita Benjie from your end? Pakilala po kayo sa ating mga kasamahan.
Hi, I'm basically my work is an advertising and a PR consultant. I've worked for Channel 9, Channel 7, Leo Burnett's advertising here in Australia. In Manila, I also worked in Malacanang during Department of Public Information under Tatad.
Wow. Under Senator Kit Tatad po?
Yes, he was ano siya noon, Secretary of DPI.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know Senator Kit Tatad as a senator.
Yeah, it's just that we arrived here in 1971, and then I
You mean
decided.
you worked for him before?
Yes.
It's good to meet people who were working or acquaintance with great Filipino people.
Yeah, we arrived in 1971. Then I was lucky enough to be able to get into Channel 9, which is what I've always wanted, media. I was straight focused, no other job, media. And I was lucky to get into Channel 9. Then in 1975, I decided to go back to Manila because I was missing Manila.
I see.
And according to my parents, I was crazy because...
Crazy in what sense po, Tita?
Well, at that time it was already martial law. So as far as my mom was concerned, what are you doing?
Yeah, why would you go back?
Why would you go back? You've got the job you want. So what else do you want? But I was homesick. I was the most homesick of my siblings. So namilit akong umuwi, and I thought, panindigan ko sa parents ko na hindi ako mahihingi.
I see.
So I worked, and again, I was lucky to be able to land a job sa DPI.
And then you came back to
Then
Australia.
I came back after my 3-year, you're allowed out of Australia 3 years eh. Then I came back 78. Channel 7 naman ang baksak.
Wow, I see. Medyo your background and experience ito medyo matindi. Kumbaga, from my end, medyo on the mainstream.
Oh, mainstream. I
which
was
is good.
mainstream. I was definitely in mainstream media.
Yeah.
Hindi ko kasi tinatanggap ang mainstream. Sa akin, I am.
You are.
So why, and in the younger days, in the early days of the 70s, there was no word such as mainstream.
Of course. Actually, it's a new word po na ginagamit because of the social media and everything.
Yes. But in our days, when I used to organize press media conferences and product launches for the television station, there was no such thing as separate ang mainstream, separate ang ethnic media. It was one and the same.
Because there was no mainstream before.
It was just all
there was
the
no
same.
kind of that concept.
That you were all there, you were thrown in, you swam or you sank.
That is definitely right. And you know what po mga kababayan, it's really timely because we are celebrating International Women's Month.
Yeah.
So this is the very reason why I am interviewing Tita Benjie. And as you mentioned the media, alam niyo po kaya napili ko rin po si Tita Benjie because she is a woman with of course many awards, and hindi ko na po babanggitin sa isa, but I think those people who are living in Australia, they know it. Pero recently po, if you don't mind, Tita Benjie, so she has this trophy or award given by the NSW government po, di ba?
Yeah, it's the
The Premier's Multicultural Communication Awards 2020. And you know what po mga kababayan, we should all be proud of, regardless of our, political stand, ay iba't ibang grupo natin, where, of course, marami tayong mga different groups na, of course, galit sa akin o galit sa inyo. But still, from my end, we should all be proud of as a Filipino because Tita Benjie got this Lifetime Achievement Award winner for 2020. Diba po? Congratulations po,
Thank
Tita.
you.
On behalf of the Filipino community in
Thank
Sydney,
you.
Australia,
Thank you.
on behalf of them, on behalf of the Filipino, I would like to extend our congratulations po, Tita Benjie.
Thank you.
Because I haven't given my personal congratulations kay Tita Benjie until now.
Actually, on that same awarding, Handog Pinoy also was one of the 3 finalists for the marketing campaign.
I see. For the
which was
bushfire
our
po, di ba?
bushfire
I see.
appeal.
Yeah, I think I read that news
Yes,
as well.
so we were also one of the 3. So, mahigpit ang kalaban
Mahigpit ang
namin.
kalaban. Anyway, pakita ko po ng malapitan po. Ayan po. So, just for you to
Masyadong
see.
see-through kasi
Yan.
hirap eh.
Okay, ayan. So, congratulations po, Tita Benjie. So, I feel, as we celebrate International Women's Month, Tita Benjie is like a model woman for the Filipinas.
Wow, thank
I would say, in terms of achievement, in terms of dedication, and in terms of doing our purpose dito
I
sa
think
mundo.
also, if I may add,
Of
no?
course.
With that award also, I think it was because part of it also not only the Filipino community, but because I worked with the City Market Authority,
I see.
specifically handling Paddy's markets. I was there for 10 years or 12,
That's quite
12
long po,
years. So, multicultural ang Paddy's. So, I think hinighlight nila yung pagka
That's
multicultural na I learned to adapt to every culture in the markets ng mga stallholders.
So, Tita Benjie, how did you feel when you received that award?
I didn't expect it at all. I was sitting here in my desk because it was only a Zoom thing because of COVID. I was really surprised.
So, how did you get the physical award po trophy?
They sent it by courier
I
with the certificate as well.
Kasi because of the COVID, we
Yes.
cannot be in appearance
Oo,
doon
sayang.
sa
It
actual
was live
ceremony.
Zoom. So I was sitting here and I thought sa huli pa tatawagin. But Gladys had to leave apparently, so she read it first. So medyo...
And I'm sure that will not be the last award for Tita Benjie po, diba? There's still more
Meron pa?
things that we have to do for our community. Now, I know, Tita Benjie, that you've been in Australia for
50 years.
50
Next
years.
month.
Oh
We're
my
celebrating as a family.
Oh, it's 50 years. That's quite long po, ah. That's quite a journey.
As a family, we're celebrating. We've got may plano kami celebrate ng 50 years namin.
Now, having known that yung years po na nandito kayo sa Australia, with your experience and with your journey po, Tita, lalo na bilang isang Pilipina, bilang babae, ano po yung naging challenges niyo po dito sa Australia? From Philippines to Australia?
Number 1, I think I was really homesick. Yung mga kapatid ko, hindi na masyado kasi they went to school eh. And we had a lot of cousins na magkakasama sila sa eskwela. So para silang may barkada sila. We lived in Meadowbank in the beginning. But ako, I had to work immediately. And then I decided to study also. Malungkot. Talagang...
During your first few years po, Tita?
Oh yes, definitely. It took me a long time to really adjust in terms of just feeling at home. Sorry about that. And actually, I was very... If I was my mom and dad, kinutusan ko na sarili ko.
Kinutusan niyo ng sarili niyo.
Kasi I was really stubborn. Ayokong sumunod. Parang sa akin, mag-uutos kayo. Kayo naman ang nagdala sa amin dito, kaya walang maid.
You're quite rebellious po, di ba?
I felt that. But I was lucky, as I said, to get into Channel 9 at that time. So, ang layo pa nung binabiyahe ko, pero I was really one-track mind.
Now, that's one of the leading question ko po kasi that's kung bakit ko natanong yan, kasi you work in the media, and during that time, could be very difficult po ba para sa non-white na makapasok sa company na ganyan? And especially you're a woman?
Woman, yes, definitely. I experienced more woman bias because mas konti ang sweldo ng babae.
During those years po?
Yes, the 70s.
Are we talking about 70s?
Early 70s. Well, I started working in Channel 9 in 71. So, my sweldo at $32 a week was less than what my brother was getting, who was younger than me.
Only because of your gender?
Gender and age.
And age.
So, I was still considered junior But and it wasn't important to me kung anong trabahong gagawin ko. Basta decided ako makakapasok ako sa
But you
sa
work
Channel
with
9.
different nationalities po, or were you the only like Asian background?
In Channel 9 there were others, may iba doon ng mga but majority were 90% were Australians. But I found they were very welcoming.
Of course. So no feeling of discrimination.
I didn't feel discriminated. Siguro after 1 year or 2 years, kasi being young, talagang inikot ko, linubos ko yung buong Channel 9. Bawat sulok ng Channel 9, whatever, pinupuntahan ko.
Niya po.
Para lang maosyoso ko.
Because you really want to learn.
Yes, yes. But they were also very welcoming. They would say to me, you come back, balik ka dito ng 5 o'clock in the afternoon after
and they're
work.
willing to share their knowledge and everything.
Teach me to say, this is how the works. They gave me a 2-day a week na, what do you call this, part-time lang, casual, to do Days of Our Lives.
So ano po yung Days of Our Lives? I think hindi ko na po naabutan yan, ha?
Wala na yata sa TV, but
Is it a
one of
TV
those,
show?
It's an American TV show na series na for ang tagal-tagal na. And they just made me a production assistant for 2 nights a week na extra pay and all that. But I finally found my niche in the promotions.
Sa advertising and
Yes,
public
and
relations.
publicity. And the job was to write all the announcements for the announcers every day. Because in those days, it was live announcer. Hindi nakatape yung mga announcements. So there was an announcer physically.
Kakaiba po yung during those time po. No?
Physically in the studio there was an announcer to say, and stay with us now for the next program and be watching or whatever. I applied for the job and my boss said to me, I know you speak English and I know you understand English, but we just wonder whether you know the nuances of the Australian language. Okay?
How did you take that question po, tita?
I took it as positive. I could have felt, inapi ako, racist sila. Right?
Sometimes it's a matter of perspectives po on how we look at it.
I made a bet with my boss, with the boss. Sabi ko sa kanila, okay, give me 3 months to do the job and pay me my old wage. Now, if within 3 months I make the job, and you're happy with it, then you pay me my right wage.
Of course, you're right.
Dahil malaki ang...
And you got it, tita?
And I got it.
Oh, that's good.
And during that time when they said, okay, we'll give you a try, I used to spend at night in the announcer's booth.
Wow, what an experience po, no?
So magkikinig ako para yung tono ng Australiano pumasok sa ulo ko.
Yeah, and even the words itself.
The words that they
iba,
use.
there are some English, although Australians are like English words,
Yes,
but we have different
terms yes.
here.
And sometimes it's, even in the dictionary, it may be the right word, but they may have a different slang, colloquial meaning to it. So I stayed there for a few nights, I think once or twice a
And
week.
it helped you a lot for sure.
Yes, because I got the rhythm in my head and I knew who would be the announcer, and every announcer is different as well. They have their style. So I had to learn how to match the style ng announcer na yon. So eventually I got it.
I see. And then, from that point, tita, because I know with that time, 15 minutes na rin po yan, ang gandang sarap kasi ng kanto na, kumbaga, we're in the flow, nakakalimutan natin yung length of time. But from that point, paano kayo po ngayon na-involve sa community, Filipino community?
Okay, 1988 na yun, nakabalik na ako, nakapunta na akong Manila, nakabalik na rin ako dito sa Australia, I was at Channel 7. And then 1986, my dad was very sick and he was looking for a Filipino doctor. And medyo detached kami from the Filipino community aside from our close friends and relatives.
But during that time, it was our Filipino community was so small po ba?
Yeah, it was still small, but because I was busy with work and others were busy, like you had your circle of friends na kakilala, but and my dad wanted to see a Filipino doctor. So I rang, wala kilala eh. And then I was with Paddy's Markets and I did an international festival. And I was looking for a Filipino dance
So you
troupe.
mean, tita, the Paddy's Market has been there for long time?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay.
It's that's a history na.
Okay, because I came in 2006 in Australia.
That's 1700s,
okay.
1800s,
Okay.
and that is just moved from one place to the other.
And continuing po, paano po kayo ngayon na-involved sa community, Filipino
So
community?
anyway, yun nga, again there was no Filipino dance troupe. I felt that the Filipinos that I knew.
So we're talking about in 1970s.
This is 1980s already.
1980s already.
88, 89. I just felt na yung mga Filipinos na linalapitan ko, para bang kanila yung property. Ayaw magbigay. I needed a dance troupe to perform.
They don't wanna share the talent.
Para bang amin yan. So, challenged, I came up with my Filipino directory. And once I did the Filipino directory.
Because you were looking for a Filipino doctor.
Doctor and a dancers.
Okay. See, we from those negative things, we converted into positive.
Yes. So I did the book, and of course I offered it. I gave a copy to the consulate, and that's where.
And with the intention of helping Filipinos with the same problem that you had.
Exactly. Na I just wanted them that when they come here, they already feel attached
And they belong to
somewhere, because I also felt that na
that we're lost. Like
wala akong makausap. Wala akong ano. And you know what was really annoying was, hey, I'm profiling a Filipino dance troupe and I was able to get Italian, Spanish, all the
other nationalities.
Except walang Pilipino. Nag-aaway pa.
It's so sad to say. Our own kin, wala pa tayo.
Sabi ko, kung ako lang pwedeng sumayaw, sumayaw na ako. But I couldn't dance because I was the organizer and I was the manager of Paddy's Markets at that time. So, from there, yun, naimbita na ako sa mga community.
Until you got involved po sa PCC po?
And Linda Swords actually invited me because we were handling the
directory.
The Filipinos directory, and she was working with Filipino Australian mail order brides.
Okay.
So she was able to get my book to be in the embassy in the Philippines. So that pag alis ng Pilipino, may kopya na sila ng libro, meron na silang titignan na, sino ba makokontak?
Which is actually handy and good for newcomers.
Yes. So, yun ang naging So, when they opened PCC, I went to the election.
And just to qualify and clarify at the same time, so Tita Benjie, you were part of the, the first or originals or first board member.
I was elected as the first board of directors
ng PCC.
Naka-slip ako. Actually, Senny Masian was voted in as well. Sina Jess, Manny Diel, Rick De Vera. And I was like the last.
So you were part of the foundation of this PCC NSW nung nagsisimula
I wouldn't say foundation kasi sina Senny yun. But when although Senny was voted in, she stepped down. Ako yung nakasingit sa loob. And then I thought, oh well, okay, sige. So I'm part of the first board of directors of under Just Diaz.
And then I know we were
And I
supposed...
stayed until 2007.
2007.
Sorry, 1997.
As part
98.
as part of PCC
Yes.
Board.
Yes, I was part of PCC.
But
Board
afterwards, you were
1998.
still supporting PCC
I
po.
supported every Filipino president there,
Okay.
except 2 or 3.
I see. Now, Tita, so it's good to know that you were actually part of the first board members of PCC NSW, because from that point, and then now we're on our 31st, how would you define or measure ang achievement ng PCC NSW po in this 30 years? You being part of the first board, and now moving forward, we're celebrating our 31st. What can you say about it po?
Big difference. Big difference. The first few years, or the first decade, I suppose, of PCC was really about building it up. Just Diaz, in all fairness, together with Linda Swords, had vision. They knew what PCC wanted to be.
They had that vision.
So we had projects. We did succeed in the mail order bride thing, which was why PCC was started in the beginning anyway, which was
So that was the key point.
that was
po,
the impetus for
impetus.
yun yung kaya nag-umpisa dahil nga ang dami ng problema ng mail order bride. Kailangan talaga ng consulate at embassy. They cannot just deal with, okay, politics to politics, di ba? Government to government. Pero kailangan dito sa baba, meron din gumagalaw,
You mean during
nag-advocacy.
that time, the mail order bride po talagang, bride is very prominent and very...
Oh yes, hahabulin ka pa sa...
really?
Uhubuling ka pa ng mga lalaki.
ganun po.
Ay, naku, yes.
Kasi hindi na po namin naabutan yan.
Medyo nakakatakot minsan para
So
bang-
it was the trend.
Yes.
And then, kaya binuo po tong PCC NSW to protect the Filipino woman in general.
To be
po.
able to advocate for
be able-
so that there was a voice from the community to say, hey, do something about these Filipino men who are claiming for these Filipino women. Stop it. Or you know.
Or para ma-stop po yung concept na ang mga kababaeng Pilipino
Yes.
ay para bang
hindi kami
you're just picking it from the trees, from
Yes.
the fruits na
Yes, and we are achievers. We have dignity, we have integrity, and we are all hardworking
So
people.
yun po yung impetus ng PCC
So there was
NSW.
and there was publicity done to actually promote Filipino women who were happily married with Australians, to give a good image. Okay, that was number 1. Number 2, we were able to change the qualifications, because in the early days it was only UP and Ateneo that were accepted. In the end now, accepted na UST, LaSalle,
other
Mapua,
educational
other
institutions.
and the other institutions are subject to the course. They will assess it. But before, so again, that was another thing. The inclusion of Tagalog in the high school curriculum is another.
Which was successfully being
Implemented
implemented.
Hindi lang naaano ng husto ng again by the community itself. So those were things, and we had, state visit ni Ramos, visit of Erap Estrada, and 98 was centennial celebrations. That was big.
And
So-
that PCC NSW was key player
Oh,
on
yes.
those events. I see.
I'm sure I can remember working
And
and
then you were there.
and puyat. And puyat na nagtatrabaho para lang matapos yung visit ni Ramos and all that. So, yun yung mga ano. And I think I would say also most important than just the achievements. Wala kaming probinsya. Ako walang probinsya. PCC provided that sort of brotherhood and camaraderie na pag may meeting, Ay, naku, nagdala ng pagkain ng mga
You
taga-aguman.
feel excited, looking forward for that meeting.
Nagdala ng pagkain yung mga taga-aguman. O, ikaw nagdala ng yung mga Ilocano, Bisaya. And when they have a party, naiimbita ako, lalo na ako, kasi nga, I don't cook. I don't, So that is there was a nice feeling of, yeah, I want to be part of this.
My sense of belongingness.
Yes, okay? Well, now, they kick you out.
So that's the difference po.
Big difference in the sense na, oh, you're not a president. I do not even reply to your letters. They ignore you. Whether you like me or not is not the question. I have a question. So,
you're still part of the Filipino community.
And if you want me to respect you, then give the other person. And it doesn't matter if it's me. It doesn't matter if it's me. I don't care. Tanda na ako. Yung mga iba, what about the younger generation kung ganun na ang attitude
ang approach sa inyo?
Kakilala lang. And dyan yung sinasabi kong KKK. Kakilala, kaibigan,
ano pa yung isa, kamag-anak
kakampi.
Kakampi.
So, it's not the case.
So from that point, Tita, you having said those things, I would ask you this question kasi I think you're aware naman even because I follow you sa Facebook
Thank
din.
you.
And I'm sure within our Filipino communities, kasi nagba-vlogs din po ako, we always get feedback, sometimes negative. And I heard some negative na ito pong sabi na Tita Benjie, she's so critical sa PCC NSW, always negative ang sinasabi. How would you reply to that sentiment po against sa inyo?
Number one, as a writer, it goes to show that those people are ignorant. Okay? They do not know the kinds of writing. I am a columnist. I am not a news reporter. Now, in my website, I do write news stories, but over the last years when I was writing for Bayanihan, Sentinel, and other
newspapers,
I had my column which was called Gray Matter.
Gray Matter. G-R-E-Y po?
Yes, gray, as in gray. It's sort of double meaning na gray and
playing with
kulay
words.
gray. Okay? And kulay gray. So, I will not write and praise because it's gray matter. It is about questionable things. Number two, so they can't differentiate between a column and a news and a feature story. But
I understand that because we belong to the same arena.
yes, so hindi nila
I
mag-get.
appreciate
So
that.
hindi nila mag-get yun. So okay lang. Walang problema. Number two, paano naman yung mga nabibiktima? My responsibility as a writer is to the community. Not to one president, not to 5 presidents. My information is to the community that they may be informed, that they may be motivated, and hopefully along the way, if I can encourage or whatever,
inspire in whatever form.
if I can in any way, even better. I don't mean to, but my main duty is to inform of the facts. Now, if there is anything wrong, they are more than welcome to call me, email me, which they all have my phone
Which
numbers.
you would entertain naman po.
Yes, and I am happy to correct it if it's wrong. But when you ring up somebody and say, pwede ba kitang ma-interview? O this is a, official interview. Tatanong ako, isusulat ko
Of
to
course,
I warn them. Hindi chit-chatan to. Ang sagot sa'yo fakery, nagsisisigaw na.
Okay.
How can you have a proper discussion with that?
Plus, in the very first place po, you ask for permission and you...
Look, if I see something wrong, and yes, I do see things wrong, maybe because of my career, and maybe because I'm also very, very proud of our Filipino, okay? PCC, if you're telling me that you are representing the Filipino community and you're the peak body, then you are representing me.
Of course.
Then don't embarrass me. Please don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass the rest of us. So, to me, I will tell you first, Hoy, bakit naman ganyan yung ginagawa nyo? I ring them up first as on a casual basis.
And you do that with good intentions.
Exactly. And I will ring them up nga, to say, oy, mali yung ginawa nyo, bakit naman ganito? Bakit may ink yung logo nyo? Bakit linagay nyo? Now, if you don't do it once, don't do it twice.
And twice.
I will write about it.
So it's
And
good.
I write based on my observations, my own questions that are going in my head, and people who also call me up to say, naku, Tito Benjie, bakit ganun? Ba't ang ganun ang ginawa nila? Except, the Filipino culture does not want to speak. They do not have the courage. Parang takot silang hindi na kami kasi may isasama yun na, hindi, wag na lang, pabayaan mo na yan. Sabi ko nga, pwede na ako mag-radyo na sumbungan ng bayan.
We can actually, we can do that.
Kasi ang daming tumatawag na nagsusumbong, na niloko. Kasi yung mga nagko-collect ng donations. And sometimes, I don't go out looking and saying,
And they seek for help because they know that you're in media po. Tama
exactly.
po? Okay.
Or sometimes,
Or you could be the voice for them.
or sometimes personal lang yung hinihingi nilang tulong. Pwede ba kung isulat nyo lang kami ng sulat? Kasi they can't write a letter. Or saan ba ho kami pupunta? Yung ganon. So, okay, sa akin wala naman problema. Tapos, as I'm talking to them, lumalabas na naloko pala siya ng ganto. The donation did not reach Manila. And you think,
So there's so many allegations and questions na kailangan hanapan ng sagot.
but look, before I write it, especially allegations na ganon, I prove it. Hindi.
Of course, and at the end of the day, it will be our name ang maka-question po. We want to protect that.
Yeah, it's not me that's, I'm not interested. If I wanted to be sikat or bida, nagpresidente na ako. Matagal na ako hindi nagpresidente. I didn't even stay in PCC. I left. Sabi ko, kayo na, I'm out, but I was behind Rick De Vera, Lolit
It's
Farmer.
good na nakapagsabi din po kayo dito kasi I know we have so many issues and questions at the back of our co-Filipinos here in Sydney. But may question pa rin po, are you still proud sa PCC NSW? You can
I believe and I strongly believe that there is a need for a PCC kind of body. Because you just need it. We just need better leaders who have more vision, more direction, more who can think and who are humble enough.
And you believe we will come to that point, Tita?
Depends on who wins.
Okay.
If, sometimes I give up dahil parang, alam mo na, andyan na ugaling Pilipino eh.
I mean, sadly po, di ba?
Sadly. And look, parang minsan I give up, sinasabi ko parang, ay naku, hindi naman ako nagpalaki sa kanila, ba't ko ba iniintindi? Hindi ko mapapalitan yan. But, for
Now,
the sake,
may challenge din po ang iba, for example, kasi sometimes they read, you question PCC, marami daw kayong nasabi, and they challenge you, why not kayo na lang ang mag-run ng PCC? What would be your answer to those people? Kumbaga, marami pala kayong question, even ako. So, bakit hindi kayo ang mag-run na lang ng PCC NSW?
because I know my limitations. I am self-aware. Number one, I am not physically healthy.
Okay.
Okay?
So, it's good that nasasagot na po, point by point,
Yeah,
yung mga
I'm
question
not
nila.
physically healthy, but they should be happy that there is somebody in my, I think I have may experience naman ako and of my background na nakakatulong ako in the background. And,
Plus, you were part of PCC NSW for many years din po, di ba?
yes. And sa akin nga, parang, hey, I'm older. Give the younger generation the chance.
And I think,
But give the younger generation the chance.
And-
Or, give somebody that's really capable and who has integrity and, to be able to run it.
I agree
With the
po.
best
I agree.
intentions, not because gusto lang sumikat.
And you being part of the media and as a writer, kasi katulad ko, I even wrote about Filipino community. There are some negative points din na sinabi ko, but in a positive way. So same with you, when you question them, it's for the good intention for the growth ng PCC NSW.
Bakit hindi nyo ibigay? Bakit hindi nyo sagutin? You all just go, nagsusumbong si Ben. You know, sumbong-sumbong.
But, is there any positive na masasabi nyo naman sa PCC po?
At the moment?
At the moment? On the record?
At the moment, zero.
Zero po. Anyway, we're all entitled to our opinion, di ba po? We agree to disagree and then, pero bakit nyo po nasabing zero? Just in case they will question this interview again, bakit nyo po nasabing zero, tita?
What? Tell me what? I'm more than happy. Aside from the fact that, yes, they were able to raise money for the floods. Okay, fine.
But you expect more po as a peak body.
Look,
That's
they
what you
were
mean.
30 years last year. So, it was COVID. So, they were indoors. Why didn't they do something and think of something? Why didn't they invite everyone to join in? If there was a need to change things, yes, we can change things. We're only here at home.
Or like we can have like virtual celebration or...
We had a picnic in September, which was the actual, yun yung actual na,
Anniversary
inauguration ng PCC. Nag-picnic. Nagalit pa sila na bakit daw nag-picnic. Ang amin, hindi naman, yung kami ang bida It was more a thank you to everyone who served in PCC. Whether 10 years ka dyan, or 1 year ka lang dyan, you served the community and you should be thanked. Ang problema, nakakalimutan nyo yung iba ba? Hindi nyo naaalala.
And that's the point na there's so many other groups pa rin.
Mabuti kung alam nyo yung ginagawa nyo, hindi naman
But it's good you had that picnic. I think I was invited during that day, but unfortunately, may kasabay na occasion. I think I was invited. So it's good you had that picnic initiated by you.
It wasn't initiated by me. It was actually Villavera.
That's right.
So, but
Okay,
the
Kuya
other
Ronaldo.
but there were 10 presidents. Now, 10 past presidents can't be wrong.
And then you were celebrating the journey of PCC for 30 years.
And we invited...
And nothing bad in that naman.
And everyone was invited.
Even PCC.
Even PCC was invited. And they could have actually used that opportunity
As a platform.
to say, buti na isipan nyo. Sige, sali kami. What can we do? And sige, mag-imbita pa tayo or whatever.
But how was it taken? It was taken negatively po?
Yes.
Okay.
The PCC 30th celebration will be in January. This is not officially
So you mean
sanctioned.
para po bang nagkakaroon ng exclusivity na dapat sila lang may authority
Yes.
to organize such celebration?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And for you, as part of the first board members ng PCC, you would say that is wrong po? For them to think about that?
Of course. Why would you think that? You know, these are all PCC people who worked in PCC. You should be grateful that there are still people who like to celebrate PCC for the sake of PCC.
For this key 30 years significant celebration.
So, you know, even assuming na wala na silang ginawa, wala, okay, zero, yung attitude is worse. How can you say, I am the big body, ako ang pangulo. Pangulo o panggulo?
I see.
Ng community. You know, like, to me, yeah, as it is, tinatawa ko, okay, but at the same time, it's an exclusive group. If you disagree, pag sinabi mong gusto mong red, at sinabi kong, ay, hindi ako, blue ako ano ka agad galit si Benjie.
Antagonistic agad ang approach.
Taga dun siya. Sa kabila yan. But I'm not. I'm like you, I'm neutral, but I am more open and vocal because I know my history.
Of course.
And I know na parang sayang. Kung ako nanghihinayan, ang dami kong ginawa sa PCC.
Plus you were part for how many years? So I think you have that authority to express your sentiments. I mean, anyone, even ako, di ba?
And their technique is like to not invite you. So, sasabihin mo, wala naman ako nakakita hindi mo ba nakita? Yung mga so manipulative. It's gaslighting at its best. And I think like, For God's sake, let's grow up. I really have other things to do. I have to go check my leg.
I know, it's very exciting po usapan natin. You know, kasi bihira itong mapag-usapan like verbally, online recorded. Kasi we keep it to ourselves. And I'm taking this as opportunity para naman ma-raise yung mga points na somehow maraming mga questions sa mga kababayan natin.
Oh, I know.
But it's time na marinig din nila tayo.
But there's also just a handful of them because they're the ones I write about. But the rest of the community also, you know, praise and say, oh, good, buti, sinulat mo yan. Buti, ano. There was even a consul general, I'm not mentioning the name, but she rang me once and sabi niya sa akin, Benjie, wag mo nang pitik-pitikin, banatan mo na kasi hindi naiintindihan yung mga yan.
So wag nang pitik-pitikin, banatan. I mean,
go
straight
forward. Kasi hindi naiintindihan yan, lumalampas lang yung mga pitik-pitik mong. But sabi ko ano yung mga pusong mamon yan, mga yan.
But you having said those, Tita, you still have positive hope for PCC. I mean, and even Filipino community in general.
In general, yes, as long as people listen. Ang ano ko lang talaga, pag, you know, nababakya yung mga sayaw natin, it really breaks my heart. And maybe because I danced. I was part of the first Filipino dance troupe that danced at the Opera House. And we were proud to dance for.
And you have to. We have
you
to.
know,
We have to.
hindi yung bara-bara na ano, and okay siguro kung dyan lang sa kanto, pwede na yung ano yan, pero sa loob ko, Diyos ko, mahiya-hiya kayo.
Because
I'm not asking for bayanihan level. I'm just asking for decent level. Kung magtitinikling, magtinikling, isara yung bamboo.
Kasi we are actually representing our culture.
And you're saying you're the peak, hindi, you're the peak body. If you say you're the peak body, then be a peak body. Wag peekaboo.
Kasi peak is actually an ultimate adjective yun eh. Peak, kumbaga, pinakamataas. Peak. At the peak of the mountain.
As I said, I believe that there should be a organization that handles it. I believe in the PhilCA as well. I think PhilCA also has problems, but the problems
so many problems po, Tita.
the problems actually are not hindi lang naman sa atin eh. Dito sa Sydney, I know it's in Perth, it's in Melbourne, it's in Adelaide, it's in Queensland.
It's everywhere. I think even with me, Tita, I am involved with other Filipino groups in other countries. Yun din, I've heard so many negative stories. I mean, unfortunately, sadly. I know, Tita, I think it's like more than 40 minutes na po. Ang sarap ng usapan natin. But, yes po, may mga quick questions lang po ko.
Sure.
I know you've been here for many years, pero buhay na buhay pa rin po ba ang inyong pagka-Pilipino, Tita?
Yeah, I go home a lot. Tsaka ang dami ko pa rin barkada at
You miss Philippines so much?
I do. But barkada, yung mga barkada.
And then, Tita, ano po
Kasi kahit matatanda na rin sila ngayon, the last time I went was 2020.
Ano pong mensahe? Pwede po kayong magsaka. Ano pong mensahe niyo po sa mga katulad po namin, mga Pilipino na ng ibang bansa at ilang taon na napalayo sa Pilipinas? Ano yung feeling po natin na dapat kailangan pa rin, buhay pa rin yung pagmamahal sa Pilipinas?
Ako, I believe that you can be blended, mixed, fused, but the spirit in your heart, let it remain Filipino.
Okay.
And be brave. Be brave. Have the courage to follow what your heart desires.
That's
It
good
can
po.
be done because I did it.
Yan, you did it. And
there are others, pioneers who actually did it by only sticking to your goal.
Goal and principles and values.
Yes. In the end, it works out. Minsan, medyo mahirap kasi parang naaano nila, yung parang bang, galit sa akin. And I did go through that na, galit sa akin, nakakaano naman. Pero in the end, I think your values pay off.
Of course. Anyway, yung mga galit sa atin, it's part of our journey. It's part of our life. We cannot please everyone.
Tumawag sila sa sumbungan ng bayan.
Now, as we celebrate International Women's Month po, kayo bilang isang achiever na babae, Pilipina, ano po ang masasabi nyo? Ano po ang definition ng isang Pilipina? How would you define a Filipina woman?
How would I define a Filipino
Or what
woman?
makes a Filipina woman a Filipina?
Strong. Strong. Filipino women may look soft on the outside, but they're mentally strong and they're very, very determined.
Oh, well, that's good to know po na.
That's the way I see them. From my mom to my grandmother, who were...
So you're brought up na regardless of your sexuality, you can achieve same with male species.
Oh, yes. Even my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
My grandmother who lived 2 world wars.
They didn't implant their minds that we men are superior than women.
And they also were not the type na pwede na. It's pwede.
Pwede.
Pwede. Hindi pwede
Hindi
na.
yung pwede na. Kasi yung pwede, you're just
Sige
happy.
na. You're just...
Kung ano
you're
yung
accepting
meron.
kung ano yung ibigay sa'yo,
Yung
okay na,
yan,
pwede na yan.
Kung ano yung nandyan, okay
No,
na.
no. So they were very supportive.
Oh, that's
Dapat sinabi mong...
That's why
Pwede.
you are Benjie de Ubago now because of those
I think
philosophy, principles, and values. And then I know, Tita Benjie, you're also a writer. Saan po kayo kumukuha ng inspirasyon nyo? As a writer.
As a writer, it really goes, yung mga tanong ko sa sarili ko, sa isip ko, you know, bakit? At saka as I observe things, I mean, as a writer, and from your own experiences, I think in any form of art, whether it's dancing, singing, writing, painting, you may know the skills. You may know the skills, but without that emotion and that gut feel,
Yung passion.
but more than passion, yung
Of course.
talagang you lived it eh. So, dun lumalabas. Kaya yung mga, I think, performers who actually perform, and you think, yeah, magaling sila, pero pwede na. Hindi ano. But those that actually have that emotion, talagang papasok dito.
It's a power actually. There's a power.
Yes.
There's an impact. There's
Yes.
an inspiration.
Yes, even dancers. When you pag kinilabutan ako pag sumayaw ng malong lang o igorot dance at kinilabutan ako, yes, you perform.
That's right. I know that, and I appreciate that because katulad niyo po, si Tita Benjie, nagsusulat din po ako. I'm a writer ng poem and I appreciate art. So, I understand fully your sentiment na kumbaga ang art, talagang if you have that passion and then pag nanonood tayo, you know straight away if that is a masterpiece, if that is a work of art.
At saka nga, yung parang sa ako, I'm writing naman for the Filipino community, it's usually yung parang my first ano nga is really the Filipino community. Kailangan magmukhang ano to, you know, tama yung Filipino. Hindi pwedeng yung...
It's because we represent the Filipino.
Kaya actually siguro nararamdaman nila yung galit ko when
Kasi
I
if we
write.
see something na pangit ang representation ng Pilipino, it affects us kasi.
Yes.
And it's like we feel it's our obligation to remind them
Yes.
that, look, hindi pwede ito.
Ang sagot nila, wala naman nag-complain kundi ikaw eh. But no, the diplomats and the government officials or invited guests are just being polite.
Being diplomatic.
They being diplomatic. As my mom would say to me when we were growing up, who else will tell you if not me? Because I love you. Oh, ganun din yun.
Ganun din po. Now, Tita Benjie, I know na napakasarap ng kwentuhan natin. If this is just a live TV show, this could be like an hour or two. Pero how would you summarize Tita Benjie de Ubago in one sentence? Or in few words? Who is Tita Benjie? If you are to leave this earth, and then after 20, 30, 40 years, we will watch this again, how would you describe yourself? Who is Tita Benjie de Ubago? How do you want to be remembered?
I'm a creative idealist who wants to make dreams come true.
Wow, that's beautiful po. Pakiulit nga po ulit yan. You are a
A
creative...
creative idealist who wants to make dreams come true.
Wow, that's beautiful. I would like to put that in my mind as well. Creative idealist. Because like Tita Benjie, we...
I imagine, I create, and I act on it.
Oh, that's good. Of course, other than thinking and writing, we also act on it. Yun yung importante. Ngayon, Tita Benjie, so
Thank you.
napakalaking pasasalamat po na binigyan niyo po ako ng pagkakataon and she invited me to her humble place, beautiful place. But Tita Benjie po, I will give you opportunity now to give your last message if you want sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino dito sa Sydney, Australia, maging sa Pilipinas at maging sa ibang bansa. Ano po ang mensahe niyo po para sa ating mga kapwa Pilipino?
Thank you for your time and sa pagpanood nyo dito sa akin. And one day, I hope we all will be united, whether it's a far, far dream, but maybe we can think and respect each other lang. And I think if we have only that respect lang, wag nag-unite kasi we all have different, we have a diverse reasons, you know, for being together. But if we just respect each other, just not even for being Filipino, just for being human. Pero in the end, keep the Filipino spirit burning in your hearts.
Wow, that is so beautiful po. So beautiful, and I hope our watchers, listeners, followers would be inspired sa inyo pong nasabi. So, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. It's my honor to be with Tita Benjie de Ubago here in Sydney, Australia. Nag-iisang Tita Benjie ng Australia. At gaya po ng lagi kong sinasabi at aking advokasya, iba-iba man po ang ating paniniwala, political stand, ating mga factions, we can still sit in one table to agree, to disagree, and as sinabi nga ni Tita Benjie, yung respect is very important. And of course, I also advocate yung reason, yung idealism. Of course, iba-ibang ating mga thinking, but still, we can still be objective, we can still be rational. Instead of being emotional, we hope that mas nananaig yung pagiging rational natin. At gaya nga ng lagi nating sinasabi dito po sa philosophy, di ba po, we appreciate thinking, we appreciate wisdom. So, sa mga kababayan ko po dito sa Sydney, Australia, alam ko po, naging mainit ang usapan namin, napakainit po ng usapan, PCC NSW. Actually, medyo hinay-hinay pa nga ako sa questions because I know we could offend some people, but sabi ko naman, it's about time that we speak. It's about time na marinig din po nila si Tita Benjie because I can hear so many feedbacks, but I said, let's also listen kay Tita Benjie de Ubago. And of course, we hope to see you again sa ating mga talakayan. So, Happy International Women's Month po. So, nandito po si Tita Benjie. Maraming salamat po sa kanila. At mabuhay po ang ating lahing Pilipino, pagpalain ng Pilipinas at pagpapalain din po ang Australia. Mabuhay po tayong lahat at sana po tuloy-tuloy ang ating pag-angat bilang isang Pilipinong nagkakaisa at nagrerespetuhan para sa isa't isa. Mabuhay po! Salamat po!